Okay, and thanks, Andy. I'm going to call on David Keogh, who did give an input just a while ago, senior official in the Department of Justice.
Hi, everyone. Again. Well, I suppose the department just wants to acknowledge the importance of the Assembly and appreciate the efforts everyone has made to come to this and put their effort so well into it, and particularly the powerful, inspiring stories from the lived experience community, the bravery in bearing their souls, the selfishness in giving up their time and focusing their efforts to help others, help themselves, help others, help their communities, and by extension help society. So on behalf of the department, I'd like to acknowledge that. The department's acutely aware as well that there's a job of work to do finding the proper legislative vehicle to introduce the health aversion approach as promised, and we're keenly aware of that, and it remains a priority for the department.
Thank you, David. Eamon? You're popular here today, Eamon.
Yeah,
much better than Electric Picnic, trust me.
Well, I don't know, I 100% agree with that. But thanks very much. And I suppose I'm pleased, Paul, that you put the boot into the health diversion programme, because I'm sitting between the Department of Justice and the Department of Health, and I thought that both ankles would be kicked off me in relation to that. So that is really important, and I think that we are committed to trying to see that work, and the HSE, with the resources that we have in hand, will try and address the health diversion programme when it gets up and running. I suppose today has been a really powerful day, that there's a lot of information that's been thrown at us. And one of the things to come out is that the status quo is not in operation in relation to our drug service. There's an awful lot of things that we are doing and innovations that you're hearing about, not just today, but at other weekends. But I thought one of the most interesting questions, and I don't know which table was it table 8, came up with why do we have a citizens' assembly? And she even got a round of applause for that question. I think that was the only question. And I thought about that a little bit over the last while, and I suppose we did hear that this is a wicked problem, and that's why we're here today. We need to increase the awareness in relation to the drug-related problems. We need to direct the focus, and we need to provide recommendations for improvement. And I suppose then a cynical person might say that maybe the government put in place a citizens' assembly because they lacked the courage to actually address the societal issues that Andy has spoken about so eloquently. And that's even, I go back to Justice Anne Ryan's comments earlier. She's running the drugs court. We've heard how well that's running. She's been told about the politicians who come to her drugs court and say how wonderful it is, but that hasn't equated into additional resources to expand that service beyond that. It hasn't even resulted in resources to fund the nurse when she goes on holidays. You know, so I think that there's a political courage needs, a cynical person would say that there is a need for political courage to address this issue, and it's not just about putting it off to the Citizens' Assembly. I think that needs to be front and centre, because the departments that I've heard mentioned today are housing, education, people at the age of 14 into prison, health, employment and enterprise, justice, children and finance. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And finally, Jim from the Department of Health, Jim Walsh.
Yeah, thank you very much. I detected today a kind of a bit of a concern or ambivalence among the Citizens' Assembly about what you're doing. Is it going to be listened to? Its relevance? I just want to assure you what you're doing and your work you're doing today is extremely relevant. And I personally am getting an awful lot out of that. I welcome your focus, you putting a light on how well the system is working, holding us to account as civil servants. Why aren't we implementing policies that have been agreed? You're doing a great job, and I welcome that. And I welcome your focus on resources. And do we need more resources? And these are live issues. In a few weeks' time, we'll have a budget. We'll see the resources being allocated to drugs policy then. What will be the impact of the Citizens' Assembly? I think we'll see some of that already. On the health diversion, just to assure you, that has a mandate to be run for 1 year. That's what's in the program for government. And after that 1 year, it'll be reviewed. Is it working? How does it need to be improved? How does it need to be changed? This is live. So what you are saying and your comments are extremely pertinent and relevant to that discussion. We just need to get on there, test it, evaluate, and hear then your feedback on that. So just to assure you, your work is so relevant to what's happening in policy at the moment. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Jim.